Bismillah, this is Breakthrough Coach Zubair Ashraf. By the end of this video, you're going to have a very awesome thing. You know what? You will be given one employee that you can manage. Yes, you can, if you want, you can outsource him. If you want, you can send him for a labor job at an agency. If you want, you can invest part of his time in learning the deen. You can invest part of his time in seeking a skill and learning a skill and getting experience in a skill. Um, if you want, you can spend part of his time in personal development and soft skills. Uh, it's up to you, right? So basically, you will have a resource to manage, and you will be an investor in a perspective of you will be choosing where it makes sense for you to invest in short term and where it makes sense for you to invest in long term. So you may decide that, okay, I'm going to use part of his time so that he can make money for me. And then I'm going to use part of his time so that he can go and learn some skill that will pay me off in the future. So what will happen by the end of this video, if you get the concept, if you get the idea, if you get what I'm trying to get you at, you will be able to be acting as a manager as well as an investor. Sounds good? All right. So here's the deal. What happens is, what I've noticed, and I've tried this with several people, this has changed their mindset. Okay, so what happens is that usually we're just thinking about ourselves and we're in a very autopilot mode. Oh, I can't do this, I'm too tired, I'm going to call a day off. But imagine if you were managing a person, if you knew that, hey, I have this resource that I can take advantage of and I can use my strategy and my efforts to growing this resource as well as benefiting myself. Okay, now what would you do? How would you act? Obviously, you try to make sure that the resource, the person that is working for you, is on board with your idea. Okay, you will motivate him or motivate her. Okay, and you will inspire him or her for a greater future. So, for example, I had a person I was coaching, and and he's like, yeah, I don't have work, and I'm out of work, and there are no opportunities. And I gave him the same example, right? So, okay, imagine if you had a person to work for you, would you be able to find in and get a job for him? I said, yeah. I said, well, what will you do? I'll start making calls. I say, hey, you know what? I have a resource. I have a person who's, I have some hours available for him. Are you looking to hire someone, right? And with that mindset, basically, what would you tell them? Like, hey, you know what? I'm trading your time for money. So if you go in for a contract and if you're working and you're not thinking yourself that, okay, I'm just an employee, I'm a lower level, you're thinking, okay, I'm a consultant, I'm a contractor, I'm going in, I'm giving in my time, I'm giving in my effort, and in return, I'm being paid. Okay, with that mindset, because this person had an issue in terms of continuing a job, and he would quit a job and what have you, would get angry at the boss, and how can you say this to me? And but with this mindset, if you're going in, right? So you see, hey, you know what? Okay, fine. So the boss has a mentality. He may ask me to do more, stay longer hours, but I can say, hey, you know what? I got other things to do. I'm gonna step away, right? You have a different mindset. You're more empowered. So the idea is that what I want you to do is think about this. You yourself, okay? I want you to have two names for yourself. One name is for that investor, the boss, the CEO, right? The leader in you. So everyone of us should be thinking like a leader, okay? So I want you to give a name to a leader, and I'll come back to why it's important. So the leader in you, give him or her a name, okay? So you might want to call him, let's say, for example, Ibrahim. All right. So, and this is an actual example, right? So, said, okay, fine. Look, let's name a corporation. Let's give a name to your life or your corporation, or however you want to think about it, right? He said, okay, fine. So I'm gonna call it Ibrahim Incorporated, and the boss, the CEO, his name is Ibrahim. Okay, cool. So now, whenever you find yourself acting in a low mentality and not planning for your life, not thinking about yourself, remind yourself, hey, I'm the CEO, I'm the boss, and you call yourself, okay, I'm the Ibrahim, the CEO. All right, you give a name for yourself, please, very important. Now, the resource that you have, the employee, the person who is working for you that you are managing, give him or her a name as well. Okay, so in our example, okay, I'm not going to use the actual example, but let's say you want to call it something else, right? So you want to give him a name, let's say, um, let's say Jason, okay? So Jason is someone who's working for you. Now again, the actual name doesn't matter. You can give it whatever works for you, but it's important to be consistent. Okay, so now you're thinking, okay, fine. So I have a resource that's Jason. Jason is working for me. I have 24 hours that I can manage Jason. So what's the best strategy for me? How should I manage and inspire and motivate Jason to use his weekends, his nights, and and his work time or his morning time, right? So if you want to be a whole-rounded player, a whole-rounded investor, obviously you're going to make sure that you're investing well in Jason's health and nutrition and proper sleep, right? And his relationship with other people, because if his relationships are not well, over time he's just going to be burnt out and he'll not be feeling happy, and again, it will have consequences for you, right? Okay, and then you motivate him. Okay, so obviously he has to make some money, he has to put in some effort, and then he has to plan long term into how you want to develop it. So I would love you to think about this concept and live a life with that sort of mentality of a manager, a leader, an investor. And love to hear back from you how this works for you, how it applies to you. So here's a quick story, a quick example to think about. If you know the show, the cartoon, the comic Superman, right? So he has an identity as in daytime as a newspaper reporter, right? So in that mentality, in that identity, his thoughts, his mindset, it will be different. He'll act in a different manner. And likewise, he has a different mentality of a hero, a hard worker, or risk taker when he is changing into his cloak of a Superman. So think about this. Would love to hear from you how you felt about it, how you applied it, and if you get the concept, if you like the concept, you know what? Help us and share the idea and share it with your friends, share it with people you think will be able to benefit. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.